Have you ever asked a question? Why the only pastors you hear of in the world are pastors who are financially sound? You never see a pastor who has no money on television, or a pastor who has no money preaching on radio. Sometimes you see people give us statistics and they say, oh, the 10 most powerful preachers in Africa, 10 most powerful preachers in the world. I ask them, how do you know? Is it because you see them on internet, hear them on radio? Listen, there are pastors who are powerful before God. You've never seen them. They are in a village. Their members are just about 20. I used to know a man called Kizzy Hayford. Many people have never heard of that guy. The man was not a pastor, but the anointing he carried. He used to give us testimonies. He was like one of these old-time prophets. Kizzy Hayford will come and tell us that, you know what, he wanted to wash his clothing and he didn't have water. So he prayed to God that it should rain only in his house. And rain will fall only on his roof, and he will gather the water and wash his clothing. That was how powerful Kizzy Hayford was. Yet nobody ever heard of him. I want to tell you, there are prophets you've never heard of, pastors you've never heard of, ministers you've never seen. They are not rich. They can't afford to be on TV. They've never written a book. They have never traveled to London. These days, if you're a powerful man, a man of God, then you must go to London. Then you must go to America. Am I talking to somebody at all? Listen, these are worldly standards. I'm not saying a pastor shouldn't travel. I travel, but woe is me if I judge God being pleased with me by these things. Am I teaching anything at all? Prosperity. But you know what? The kind of pastors you respect are pastors who are prosperous. Oh, that's a very powerful man of God. Oh, that man is a very powerful man of God. He has everything. God has really blessed him. Lands, houses, cars. So they said, we want a king like the kings of the nations, because the kings of the nations are prosperous. They have the gold, they have the silver, they have the diamonds, they have the kingdom. So today, if God calls you into the ministry, one thing you'll be looking for is money. But listen, money does not make you a man of God. Money doesn't make you a woman of God. Money doesn't make you an anointed person of God. I pray that you will get to the place where when you are talking about prosperity, you are talking about your holiness, you are talking about your righteousness, you are talking about your closeness with God, you are talking about the fact that you will enter heaven. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his soul? That is why today, if you don't have a certain kind of money, there is some kind of ministry you cannot do. I do events. And sometimes when the budget for one event comes, the budget for an event, I ask myself, so can a poor man ever do an event at all? No matter what God gives him to say. Because if you don't do good advert, the people will not attend. If you don't do the stage a certain way, the people will not come. If you don't decorate the church a certain way, members will not come into it. So you know what? We are running a money and prosperity driven kingdom, where if money is not there, everything else becomes useless. So some of you can sit in a place like Bogatanga and you don't even appreciate the ministry, because you see, you are thinking about other things. You are thinking about some other things. You are thinking about prosperity. You are thinking about money. You are thinking, oh, we don't have the money to do this and we don't have the money to do that. Money is a very powerful thing. I've written so many books on money. I preach a lot on money. I preach a lot on prosperity. But I come here to declare to you, prosperity is not everything. We don't need prosperity to be called men of God, to be called a child of Jesus, to be called a church of Jesus Christ. Being a church of Jesus Christ, being a church that God is pleased with. The most important thing is you need the presence of God with you. You need the anointing of God with you. You need the holiness of God in your life. Listen, stop putting pressure on men of God to become like worldly people. So I'm talking about power. I'm talking about prosperity. 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 And I can tell you this thing about prosperity is real. I remember I was going to preach in a certain church abroad. And when I landed, the pastor took out my suitcase. He's a Ghanaian pastor. And he said, hey, is this the suitcase you use? You use the kind of suitcase my general overseer uses. Hey, then you people, so he's measuring me by suitcase. Not by what I have on my inside, but what I have in my hand. Your power is not in your suitcase. Your anointing is not in your suitcase. Am I talking to somebody at all?